Hey, what is up guys? I have named this deck the worst deck I've played in Modern, and I think that might actually be true. It's been a lot of fun to play, and I'll show you guys the deck and some gameplay, but I think I'm going to have to do a lot of editing because it doesn't win very much. But when it does, it's really, really sweet. So what are we doing today? I've been trying to break Flare of Duplication, sacrifice a red creature that's a non-token, and copy an instant or sorcery. What can you do with Flare of Duplication to break it? Well, I really want to use it to copy Breakout and get some really fast aggro starts, but I did think it would be really funny to copy Molten Rain, so that is what I've built a deck to do. It's 3 mana, destroy a land. If it's a non-basic, deal 2 damage to your opponent. You go turn 1 like a Ragavan. You can then go turn 2, assuming it hits your opponent. You can go turn 2, Molten Rain, sack the Ragavan, and then blow up 2 lands. You can also do that with Burning Tree Emissary because it costs 0 mana. So assuming you use any sort of mana acceleration, you can go turn 2, sack a Ragavan or a Burning Tree to the Flare, double Molten Rain your opponent. You can also do ridiculous things like use a Pyretic Ritual, make 3 mana, copy the ritual, make 6 mana, again on turn 2, and then cast Volcanic Awakening, which is destroy target land, but with Storm. So you can actually blow up 3 lands. Obviously, you don't have to target your own lands. You can just blow up 2 lands if they have 2 lands or whatever. But you can blow up 3 lands on turn 3, for example. Your opponent has 3 lands in play? Well, not anymore. I had to give this deck a go. And yeah, I thought you guys might want to come along with the ride. It's obviously not a good deck. We're playing a 6 mana land destruction spell. We're playing 7 Molten Rain or Pillage effects, and we're playing 8 or 7 rituals in a deck with Burning Tree, Ragavan. This deck is a mess, but it's really, really sweet. Let's hop into some games because I don't know what else to tell you. Oh, sure, we're playing Atali. Fuck it, why not? It's basically Commander. We've got an Atali in the deck. We've got Inferno Titan. We've got our Arena of Glory. Maybe we can do some sweet shenanigans with those on. You can play an Atali on turn 2 or an Inferno Titan. Not sure how good that is in a deck with this much junk, but let's find out. Let's get into some gameplay. My God, what a pile. We're going to lead off with a recorded gameplay. This is the first game I ever played with the deck. I wanted to give it a go before I made a video with it, and I regret it because this video was absolutely insane, or this game. So as you can see, we've got the turn 1 Ragavan. Our opponent is on some sort of Eldrazi Tron deck, and they lead off with a Ugin's Labyrinth, which means our Ragavan is free to hit our opponent here. So we go ahead and play a Utopia Sprawl and bonk our opponent with our Ragavan. So Ragavan hits our opponent, hits an Emrakul. Probably not casting that, but what it does allow us to do is go Burning Tree into Stone Rain and Stone Rain our opponent. And our opponent just instantly concedes here. I think that's a little bit dramatic, but it was really funny. Maybe they kept a 1-land hand and then you can use the Expedition map to hit their 2nd land drop. But yeah, that was literally the first game I ever played with the deck, and I couldn't resist showing you guys that. And then game 2, obviously our opponent's on the play, and our opening hand has a Utopia Sprawl into Obsidian Charmor, which is just absolutely wonderful. Oh yeah, obviously we'll have to go turn 2 Molten Rain, and then I think turn 3 or turn 4 can you Obsidian Charmor. I can't remember these games exactly, but I just remember my first game with the deck just being, or this first round just being absolutely wild. Okay, yeah, because the opponent was on the play, you can turn 2 Charmor with, assuming you have a mana accelerant, which we had Utopia Sprawl. So turn 2 Charmor, blow up your land. Opponent uses their Kozilek's command to make 1 Saproling because they just need any mana they can get their hands on. And they pass the turn back. And now we've got access to 1, 2, 3, 4 mana. Just slam that Molten Rain, blow up another opponent's land. They're left with just an Urza's Mine in play. And, okay, sure. So they're going to play another Kozilek's command. And we're going to crunch in the air for 4. So our opponent can still cast a ring, right? 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah, they could still cast a ring if they have a... they do have the land. Yeah, and they cast the ring. Okay, sure. So they tap with the ring. And we're going to just go ahead and surveil. And we find another Charmor, which is insane. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 mana. Can we just Charmor and Molten Rain? Haven't done the math. No, you can't cast both, but you can cast an Amped Raptor here. I guess if we hit a Ritual, we hit a Stone Rain. Okay, our opponent's just conceded. We've got 10 power on board, and our opponent has 1 land in play. So this is the only reason I think I'm even still playing this deck. This round was absolutely hilarious, and I just want to play games like that because it's really fun. Okay, so yeah, definitely struggled to get very much watchable content for this, and there is another game that we did manage to scrape a win. Opponent leads off with a Gemstone Cavern on their turn 0, and we just lead off with a Ragavan. And our opponent plays possibly the most annoying card for this, which is Kalani Garden, which just stops our Ragavan from hitting our opponent. I can't remember if they block or not. Yeah, they do block. Sure. So I think if you see the Kalani Garden, you instantly know what the deck is. If you're not familiar with this deck, or there's 2 different versions, but the most common one is it uses Cascade cards. You Cascade into, what's it called? Glimpse the Impossible, I think, which basically just shuffles all of the permanents in your deck back into your deck, all from your from your graveyard and from play, and then it just redistributes like the top X amount of cards from your deck back into play. So if you have 4 lands in play, you shuffle them back into your deck, you just essentially flip the top 4 cards, those are now in play, and then you use that with Omniscience to then cast Emrakuls and whatever nonsense you want to cast. I think Spike innovated on the deck and made it use the new Shifting Woodland. But yeah, this was another game that we played. So essentially we played a bunch of Ragavans. We've been Molten Raining our opponent, as you have seen. And the opponent's deck does essentially need 4 or 5 permanents in play to win the game. It needs Shifting Woodlands to copy Omniscience, or for you to Cascade into Omniscience, into Glimpse. And if you can't do that, then the deck just doesn't function. So although we're not doing much, all we're doing is Stone Raining our opponent. That's all they can really do, is just make their new land drops. Obviously, they've got a Fable flipped in play, but it's not doing anything. Hitting us for 2 doesn't really matter. We get to swing our opponent here with the Ragavan, and what do we show? Maybe they'll reveal some wacky card that's in the deck. It looks like they use their Surveil to try and make it so we don't hit anything good. And they reveal some nonsense spell, which is kind of like a bad Omniscience, I think. Once per turn, you can cast a spell for free, sure. I think this is where it starts to go a little bit rough. Obviously, our opponent is very far away from winning because we've just been blowing up all their lands. But now they've got Khan, they go get the ring, and things start to get a little bit trickier. So we go ahead and Amped Raptor here. We hit another Amped Raptor. 2 mana for 4 power, I guess is fine. And we cast a Ragavan. So I think our opponent is just going to untap and play a ring. Again, I can't really remember this gameplay. Yeah, it's just they cast the ring, which is obviously what they get from Khan. But I'm pretty sure we end up winning the overall round. But yeah, we definitely win the overall round. I can't remember which games we win. It's not looking great for us here, but we'll see. Our opponent is only on 11. So at this point, they have protection with the ring. So we might as well just go kill Khan, which obviously they're not even going to bother blocking. They might as well keep the reflection around if they do get to combo off. And here is where it gets great. So we managed to go, where is it? Cast Desperate Ritual, cast Volcanic Awakening. Storm count is then 2, well 3 with this. So we get to blow up 3 of our opponent's lands, and now they are just miles away from ever winning again. 3 lands being blown up is just virtually impossible to recover from, especially when you're only on 10. So our opponent here is just like trying to make their land drops, grasping at straws, keeping things like the plant token as a blocker. I think if they had blocked the Ragavan earlier, they would have been in a much better situation. But yeah, we have another one anyway. 1, 2, 3, 4. So we still can't cast the second Volcanic Awakening, but it doesn't look like we need to. Our opponent's only on 4. I think that was the end of the game. So I don't very often use this record function. Well, it's not going any further, so that must have been we won game 1 They must have conceded. They have a ring on 3, and they are just so far away from winning. See how this one goes. Yeah, I don't normally tend to record. I prefer to do live gameplay, but this deck is very bad, so it's hard to get any gameplay footage of winning or even being like a close game. A lot of games are you just you just lose horrendously. So it looks like this game we're going for the Ragavan into Blood Moon option. So we've boarded in the Blood Moons because of the land that they play is, there you go, Shifting Woodland. So if you can turn that into a mountain, obviously they can't use that to combo off. Okay, so we've got a Molten Rain here. I would imagine we just go Burning Tree into Molten Rain and then copy the Molten Rain. Surely that's what we do. No. Oh. Okay, we go... Oh, okay, sure. We go for both. I think in hindsight, we would have been better off just double Molten Raining there. So you let the Ritual resolve and then copy the Molten Rain, and then they have only 2 lands in play. And I remember distinctly, this is where it goes wrong. I did not realize Glimpse of Tomorrow is red to suspend. So, so Blood Moon doesn't actually stop the main combo if they draw it. Obviously, it shuts off Shifting Woodland, but yeah, Blood Moon, not so good against the opponent's deck. Had we double Molten Rained and then cast Blood Moon later, I think that would have been a much better option. But there is the Marauder, which is the Cascader. So they're now going to hit into Glimpse because they have nothing else to cascade into. And yeah, we don't even need to play it out. Our opponent shuffles everything in, and their new permanents include an Omniscience and a Khan. And obviously the game's over at that point. You can go Khan minus and then go get something that ends the game. There are tons of different ways you can do it. There is an actual 1-turn kill as well. This one I don't remember at all. Okay, so we're taking a mulligan, and we've got another turn 1 Ragavan. And yeah, we do go for the turn 1 Ragavan. There is options to go for the Utopia Sprawl for this exact reason, but we'll see what happens. So our opponent just blocks, and we Utopia Sprawl and pass. Opponent goes Malevolent Rumble here, makes another chump blocker. Very frustrating. What are we going to do? So swing, I assume they chump block, yeah. And then what, we just double Molten Rain here? No, we just Molten Rain once. That's quite surprising. I guess then we don't have a clock if we don't. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I guess no. Now we can just Inferno Titan, right? I'm pretty sure we can just cast an Inferno Titan here. Oh, wow. They even let's hit our opponent. They really want that Eldrazi spawn. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And yeah, there's Inferno Titan. And our opponent plays a Fable. But I'm not sure if Fable is going to do much in the face of an Inferno Titan. Opponent takes a huge amount of damage here. And yeah, that's literally all it took. Inferno Titan looking absolutely great there as a finisher. Yeah, that is about as great as the deck can get. Obviously, you saw from the other footage as well against Tron, but any tier 1 deck that gets on the board, this deck sucks. It's absolutely unplayable. But if your opponent plays something a little bit janky, you might be able to get some wins. So if you want to play something fun at FNM, this deck is really fun. If you want to win a tournament, do not come close to playing this deck. All right, what do we got here? I guess we're a flare away from turn 2 Titan. But at the moment, we have a Ragavan into a Burning Tree, which is an aggro thing. And then, yeah, I'm not sure this is good. Maybe if we hit our opponent, we go up to 1, 2, 3, 4 mana. It just needs a flare, and then it's insane. But I think we can do better. Oh, no. We've got the opposite. We needed one of the flares, and now we've got too many. All right. Yep, this is fine. We'll go ahead and keep. We are going to go turn 1, Utopia Sprawl, turn 2, 1, 2, 3. We need a land, really. I don't think we need the Ritual, do we? Not really. I guess we can go turn 1 Ragavan, turn 2 Burning Tree, Ritual, Pillage. So if we do... Oh, but we still need a... Oh, no, we just... Okay. We are all in on this Ragavan hitting our opponent, I think. Oh, shit, we're on the draw. No, I thought we were on the play. Oh, this is going to be a bad game. We've got turn 1 Ragavan, turn 2 Burning Tree, Ritual, Pillage, which not an ideal game setup because we are okay. All right, Ragavan can die. It doesn't matter. If our opponent plays a frog, we're going to be really sad here. Looks like they're not. So the worst case scenario here is Fatal Push plus Spell Snare. Oh my goodness, we've got Flare. All right, well this game could go anyway. I'm hoping they're going to fetch here so we can just Flare and double pillage them. All right, they've got the Fatal Push. I guess we go for the mountain. Shouldn't make too much of a difference. So now we can go ahead and Desperate Ritual. Are they going to counter this? Okay. Oh, that sucks. So we can go Flare, copy the Ritual, and then still pillage our opponent. But what does that do? Because then we have no creature. I think we just have to hope we hit a land drop next turn. Wait, they don't have a land drop? Okay, maybe that would have been okay. What do we got? All right. So we're not even going to attack because that will prompt them to kill it at instant speed, and then we can't do everything. So we have to do it this way. You can counter one of them, but you probably can't counter both. Wait, does this no longer have a target then? Oh, no way. Okay, I did not know that was the way that worked. I mean, it makes sense now that I've thought about it. Well, we had a dream. Maybe I should have just tried it on one, and then if they counter it, respond by copying it. I guess that would have been the better line, but it was just too tempting to try and block both their lands. Got too greedy. We definitely don't need this. And then we'll just pass the turn. 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah, we'd still need to draw 2 more mana producers in that time. So we wouldn't be able to do that for another 3 turns. Oh, it was going so well. I thought it was going okay. We had the Ragavan, we had the Burning Tree, but we learnt a very important lesson where if your opponent counters your target with Flare, it's no longer on the stack. Normally, most copy spells copy something like they'll say the next spell you cast is copied. So I've never really thought about it. Like, yeah. We draw a Flare. So if our opponent does some big spell that's a non-creature, we can copy it. Copy target instant or sorcery. Doesn't have to be ours, doesn't have to be red. Do we want a preordain? Well, it's better than a flare at this point. Don't counter my 3 mana preordain, please. Oh no. Alright, alright. Well, I'm pretty sure we're against just generic blue-black frog here. But 1, 2, 3, 4. I guess we could just curve out and resolve an Atali or a Primetime. I don't know how much removal they actually have for big creatures, because they normally run things like Fatal Push. So maybe we can just resolve a huge creature. Because they haven't given us a clock yet. An Atali into... Yeah, if we like resolve an Atali somehow, especially if we have an Arena of Glory, then things could go absolutely crazy. I would assume they have counter magic, but we're going to remain optimistic because what else do we have at this point? Another flare. Oh, whoa, whoa, look at that though. We have mana to pay for the next spell snare. Sorry, spell pierce. Spell snare won't do anything. Oh no. That's a Murktide if I've seen one. Yep. That is an 8/8. It's pretty big. Alright, let's just go to the next one. What were we drawing? Another flare. Alright, in this matchup, we definitely want the ley lines, and we probably want Chandras. They are much harder for them to answer than Inferno Titan and Atali. We'll go ahead and go for a third one, I think, and ditch one of the Awakenings, because they've just got so many fetches. And something else to cut. No, I think we actually do want all the rituals. Because an early Chandra should just win the game. Alright, let's go with that. Our top end is Chandra. We definitely need to go on the play. And we can't ask for much more than this, so we'll go ahead and keep. If we're ever going to beat this matchup, this has got to be one of the hands to do it. We've got the 1-drop into the 2-drop. We've got Desperate Ritual, Pillage. We have the world here. And they have the turn 1 Surveil Land. This is as good as we could have asked. It really is. I think we're just going to go Stomping Ground again. Bonk our opponent first just to see what we get. I can't imagine it's better than what we've got. A Surveil Land, sure. And do we... What's better, ritualing or using the treasure token? I think it's about the same. I guess this plays around... No, neither play around Force of Negation. Whatever, we're just going to use this and keep the treasure. Oh my god, are they going to Force of Negation this? If they do, it's no different to them forcing the Pillage. So that's not the end of the world. In fact, I'd rather them counter that than the Pillage. Please don't be a frog. Okay, Fatal Push is fine. Arena of Glory. 1, 2, 3, 4 mana. So we can go Raptor, give it haste, and pillage in the same turn. 1, 2, 3. I think we're just going to pillage here. Because we kind of want to keep these if we find a Chandra, right? Because we are 1 mana short of just casting a Chandra. And then they obviously can't counter it. What did they do? Oh, they float a mana, sure. I think if they didn't have the force of negation there, it would have been pretty much game. But, I mean, they wouldn't have kept the hand if it didn't have force or something else to do. Is our opponent just scrying everything to the bottom that's not a land? I don't know what their how people change their scrying and things against this deck. I'd be interested to see though. Ragavan. So we can just double haste here with the arena. Yeah, let's do that. See what happens. I would have rather keep the Raptor for when we get a 3rd energy. So if we hit a 3 mana like Molten Rain. Okay, it didn't really matter then. Gonna get to hit him with our Ragavan, which is really nice. And we get, oh my god, we get Frog and we can cast it. Wow, that is huge. We have a Frog in play and a Ragavan. We have got the card value machines are online. They're going to shock here? They don't. Okay, so one of these is going through. This is wild. Let's go swing with both and see what happens. Like this land is going to be useful later on for when we eventually find a Chandra, which I assume at some point we will, especially with a Frog in play. Both triggers resolve. Insane. I assumed they had an answer to one, but an answer to neither is just insane. And we get another ritual, sure. We'll go ahead and play the land, and I think we're just going to go fetch a Surveil land here. Well, we definitely don't need more lands. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So we can next turn cast a Chandra for sure. Well, well, well. If it wasn't for our opponent also having a Frog. Except ours has flying and theirs doesn't. So I don't think we actually care. I'm not sure at what point we're supposed to just pitch our hand. Because we are not finding anything to do with this mana. I think a Chandra is the only thing we're looking to draw, right? Everything else just doesn't really do anything. Yeah, sure. You put your counter on yours, so yours lives. Opponent thought seizes us down to 7. I guess I could have responded and just discarded our entire hand. That probably would have been better in hindsight. Another ritual. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Well, we've got enough for Chandra, so I think we're just going to swing. I guess we could actually keep that land if we wanted to. Because it'd still be lethal next turn if we discarded it next turn. Come on, Frog, what do you got for us? A Molten Red. Oh my god. That puts our opponent to 1. That's pretty good. And we'll get rid of their only black source, and now they can't fetch. Alright, opponent, what do you got? What do you got? You can't Murktide. You can't do whatever the new Murktide is called. A Fatal Push would be good. Because they can still just win. They just can't cast many. Oh no, they don't have a black source. Fatal Push will not do. We actually stole a game. Good stuff. On the draw, I think the Flare combo is actually better than on the play. Is there anything else we want to change? The deck is quite light on lands, so blowing up the lands is actually really good. Because what we could do is cut down on the acceleration and just go like 4 Charmors and try something that way. I don't think that's a good line though. Let's just try that. 1 extra flare to cut for the Utopia Sprawl. I like the Chandras. They seem pretty good. Yeah, this hand looks great. We'll go ahead and keep this. It's again the turn 2 double pillage. So keep. There is so much potential with this hand, especially with the Arena of Glory. The Burning Tree gets haste, so yeah, it could be a sweet game. We draw the 1-hill forest, but it doesn't really matter. Definitely want to just throw the Ragavan out on turn 1. Hopefully they'll like tap out here. Oh my, they tap out for a Bowmaster, which is very ideal for us. So if they don't have the force here, we're looking pretty good. Oh no, we don't have enough mana now, do we? They blew up our acceleration. Ironically, if that was a Utopia Sprawl, we would have been able to double pillage this turn. But we can't, so let's just go Arena of Glory and pass. This has been a 20-minute round. This is insane. I'm surprised they even kept Bowmasters in. It does answer Ragavan, but that's about it. All right, opponent coming in for 2. And we find another flare. Unfortunately, we don't have enough creatures to be doing this multiple times. Opponent's going with the Consider. And they've discarded it. Oh, sorry, they milled over a Murktide, which suggests they probably have another one. Or they're just happy with their 4 power clock. I can never tell if people actually want me to upload videos of these kind of games. Like, Game 2 was obviously quite interesting, but this game has obviously completely fallen through. And I don't know if people enjoy seeing this or not. So if you're watching this and you like watching the deck even when it falls, then let me know. Because a lot of recordings I do, I end up just deleting because I try out stupid decks that don't work. It's fun to do. And I think it helps you learn like what works and what doesn't and things. Like when I was building this, I was like very aware that it's not great, but it's still a lot of fun. So why not? Yeah, like I'm not really sure what to do. I think that we are just dead. I think we're just going to wrap this up. So there you have it, guys. Ponza in Modern using the Flare of Duplication and trying to cast Molten Rains and Volcanic Awakening. The deck did absolutely horrendously. There were some games that I managed to go like turn 2 Molten Rain, turn 3 Molten Rain, and just win the game. Mainly off the back of a Ragavan and blowing up their lands. But as soon as your opponent gets anything into play, or you get a very bad opener, which happens a lot when you play lots of Desperate Rituals and Burning Trees in a deck that doesn't really do much without them or really with them, you mulligan a lot. So I think if you want to actually try and play Molten Rain with Flare of Duplication, I think you need to just play it in like a red-green aggro deck and play like Ragavan and some things that generate mana, and then use the Molten Rains to slow your opponent down. And then I think this is too much. I think if you cut the rituals, cut all of this, and add in Breakout, add in some creatures that like get your opponent dead quickly, and then you use the Molten Rains as like a way to slow them down, you might actually be able to do something with that. Maybe I'll do a video with that. That sounds like a lot of fun. But as soon as I saw this card online, I had to cast the spell, or at least tried to cast it. Unfortunately, I don't think any resolved, which sucks. But maybe one resolved, I'm not sure. But yeah, the deck, you gotta try sometimes. It's okay to fail, right? Like, you won't learn if you don't make bad things and fail occasionally. But yeah, that's about it. I think if you want to try and play something like this, change these out for early game creatures, add some pressure to the board, and I think you might be all right. But this doesn't work. But that's why you can subscribe to me, right? Because you can watch me waste all my play points and save yourself buying ticks or wasting your own play points. Thanks for watching. If you want to see more content, make sure to subscribe. If you have any deck suggestions, hopefully none with a Volcanic Awakening, then let me know in the comments and I will be sure to give them a try. If you do want to actually support my more competitive content, I do play Domain Zoo, and I have a very, very in-depth guide over on my Dictionary profile. The link is down there, I think. You should see it on the screen. But there is a full Domain Zoo deck guide, which is, I promise you, 1,000 times better than this. And it gives you like a printout for your sideboard guide, so you can take it to tournaments, all that good stuff, and various different lists, mana bases, or not different mana bases, but it shows you the correct mana bases. Anyway, thanks for watching, guys. I'm just rambling at this point, so peace.